Sis Rachel, and boy do I have a story for you. Now, I haven't done a story time in a while, and that's because honestly I cannot just make stuff up off the top of my head. Like, I have to legit try to remember past events that's happened. And so when this girl requested me on Instagram, it just brought back all of these feelings, these memories. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you about the time that I had the worst double date ever, the most horrific double date, embarrassing double date. Let's just go ahead and go on with the story. Now, this happened when I was in 11th grade, and if you watched my worst breakup ever, you know that in 11th grade I went through a devastating time period where I was dumped and I was just super depressed afterwards. And so one of my good friends that went to that school as well, her name was, we're gonna say Megan, tried to convince me to go on this double date with her to make me happy, to put me in a better headspace. So this was legit a week after the breakup, you guys. A week after she wanted me to go on this double date with her to get my mind off of him, to get in a better mood. And so I was down for it. I was willing to try anything. She showed me the guy's picture that she was setting me up with. I thought he was cute. Her date was cute. I was like, we're gonna have a good time all being cute, right? So that was the plan. Now, she told me in advance, like, listen, you know, he already knows you just got out this relationship. He's not looking for anything serious like you are. So, you know, don't worry about it. Dress casual. We're gonna have a good time. No pressure. You know, let's just have a good time. I'm like, awesome. So I showed up to this girl's house on a Saturday. My mom dropped me off. I'm dressed casually like she told me to dress, because she said she was going to dress casually with me. I had a bun in my hair, you know, jeans, a t-shirt, I think, and like some sandals. And, you know, I was like, okay, whatever, and like some little lipstick. This girl had heels on, a tight dress on. I mean, her hair was on point. The makeup, I was like, this is casual for you, girl? So I was a little low-key mad because I felt like she kind of set me up, but I'm like, you know what, whatever. She looked like J-Lo, and I was sitting here looking like Raggedy Ann, but it was all good. I'm like, you know what? Let me just still have a good time, Rachel. I just got dumped. I'm depressed. Let me not think too much into it. So both of our dates show up. We're going to say my date was named Daniel. Her date was named PJ. Both of our dates show up. And immediately they gravitate towards my friend Megan, and they're both complimenting her. They're both saying how gorgeous she looks. They're both saying how they miss her and all this stuff. And honestly, I was just chopped liver, just standing there next to her like the ugly friend. And they were just like, you know, completely ignoring me until she had to say something like, oh, this is my friend Rachel. And that's when they were like, oh, hey, you know, whatever. And my date shook my hand, and like that was that. But it was so awkward. So we end up going to the movie. We couldn't even see the goddamn movie because the movie was rated R, and at the time we weren't even 18 and we didn't have a license, I don't think, or well, the two guys did, but you know, we weren't of age anyway, so we couldn't even see the movie. So my date Daniel was like, hey, how about we head over to my house? My parents are out of town. I could put on a movie for us, pop some popcorn, it'll be cool. Now normally, okay, I would say going to somebody's house that I don't know, no, not for me. However, I was trying to be cool and play along with everything that was going on, because my friend Megan, you know, she just really wanted me to have a good time, and I didn't want to ruin her fun, because she was like having the best time of her life talking to these guys in the car where I was just sitting there, and I didn't want to be like the party pooper. So I went along with it. So we end up at this boy's house. He pays for a Saw movie, which I hate Saw movies. So we ended up like watching Saw, or at least I pretty much ended up watching a movie. And let's just say we're on the couch right now. I'm sitting here. Next to me is my date Daniel. Next to Daniel is my friend Megan. And next to her is, what's his name? PJ. So it's all four of us just hanging out watching a movie. Next thing you know, super awkward. Next thing you know, my date starts to flirt with my friend. And so they're flirting, and next thing you know, they start making out, y'all, like full blown making out, touching, kissing. She's like, stop it. Oh my god, this is so awkward, Rachel. Get your date, Rachel. As you're making out and kissing, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And then her date interrupts. He was like, hey bro, that's my date, blah blah, but like in a playful way. So they start like joking, and they're all having a good time, and I'm just like, what is going on? This is so embarrassing. So Daniel and Megan actually end up going upstairs. I don't know what they did, but he was like, let me talk to you by yourself. And, you know, they end up going upstairs for a good, like, hour. And I'm left alone with her date, who doesn't speak to me at all. It was just completely awkward. I think he was on his phone texting the entire time, and I was just, like, trying to legit watch the movie. Come back down, and they're still, like, giggling and laughing, and then she starts to, like, you know, have fun with PJ, and like they're holding hands, and I'm just sitting there in complete, utter, I don't know, awkwardness / shock, because I just realized that my friend may just be a hoe. I'm sorry, that's rude as hell to say, but that's what I was thinking at the time. Like, girl, you okay? And so I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like, please, Lord, let this date end, because it's horrible. I'm like a fourth wheel. I'm like the ugly BFF right now. So I start fake falling asleep. I know it's so corny looking back on it, but I fake fell asleep, and Megan noticed, and she was like, oh my gosh, Rachel's so bored. She fell asleep during the movie. And so the guys were like, okay, you know, let's stop the movie. Let's go out to eat. So we ended up going to, I think, Steak and Shake or whatever. And excuse me, it just gets worse from here, because when we set up the date, or when Megan set up the date for us, she told me not to worry about money. She was like, oh, don't bring money, you know, the guys has us covered, they're super nice, they're gentlemen, all this stuff. My mom gave me money anyways, because, you know, just in case emergencies type thing. But, you know, that I'm thinking, okay, this is a real day. They're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna let the girls pay. Well, I was completely wrong. Daniel was like, oh, you got it covered, right? Like, my own bill. And I was just like, oh yeah. It was so freaking awkward. And you know, of course he paid for, I almost said her name, he paid for Megan, and PJ paid for himself, her date, and then I paid for myself. So whatever. Anyway, so she ends up going home, and I was really upset with her, because the plan was for me to get dropped off at her house with you know, with her, and my mom would have came and got me. However, she was like, oh no, you know, my parents are super strict, which they were, and she was like, I have to be home at this time, and my mom thinks that, you know, you're getting dropped off. I didn't tell her you were getting dropped back off here, so you can't come back over, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I ended up having Daniel drop me back off, which, don't have a random person drop you off. What I should have done was have my mom just pick me up from the Steak and Shake, but whatever. So I ended up having this boy drop me off, and, you know, the car ride was super awkward, and he was trying to speak to me a little bit and acknowledge me, but it was just, no. So he drops me off, and at this point now he wants to be a gentleman, since, you know, Megan's not with us. And you know, he walks me to my door, tries to make out with me, and I'm like, pump the brakes, because you literally about like 2 hours ago made out with my best friend, or, well, not best friend, but good friend at the time. So that was that whole situation. I was so happy that the double date ended. After that, I actually ended up switching schools because of everything that occurred with the guy. But me and Megan did fall out, because she started saying that, you know, I was a party pooper, I wasn't fun to hang out with. But here's the catch. What's funny is, EJ and I started talking senior year, right? And we bumped into his good old friend Daniel, and I was thinking, you got to be kidding me. So EJ and Daniel were actually best friends at one point, and they went to like all through middle school together. And what's funny is, when Daniel recognized me, he immediately told EJ afterwards, like, hey, you know, your girl is a cock blocker, she did and told this complete utter lie of a story. And it was just like, what is happening? So every time EJ brings him up, or they speak on the phone or something like that, it is just so freaking awkward. But that was my worst double date ever, you guys. The fact that my date made out with my friend is just, it was just, no fun. So I was just kind of there. I was chopped liver, nobody talked to me, and it was just pointless for Rachel to be there. But that was my story. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment, rate, subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and on Twitter. I do follow back. Everything will be linked in the description. And check out EJ's new music. He is really good at it. And again, thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.